something that Eric said during the break that, and correct me if I'm wrong, something to the effect of you would like to see just the federal government be dissolved, right?
Yes.
And not exist.
Yes.
And I think I'm on that same level with you. But let's say there's someone at a water cooler later today and they're having a conversation about how out of control this government is, and they say something like that. And then the question back to them is, okay, and replace it with what?
Nothing.
Now, if you, you may not even need. I was
so
gonna,
quick.
I was gonna look at the clock. I was gonna say, all right, so
I can
60
yeah.
seconds, go.
I can do that, but you replace it with nothing. When you replace a cancer, you don't replace that with anything, or when you remove it, you don't replace it with anything. So we don't want to replace it with anything now. Now, ideally, we could take this bad boy all the way down to the individual in terms of this decentralization. But I think at minimum, at least in my lifetime, I think it is very realistic for the federal government to be completely dissolved, and at minimum, the states as they exist right now will become nation states effectively. Now, the reason why a lot of people are scared of that idea is because they have been conditioned to believe that as it exists right now, it's the only way that it could possibly exist. Now, the idea of 50 nation states, for one, isn't a bad thing, but you can, of course, still have some sort of level of camaraderie and some level of some sort of defense pacts or whatever. But the federal government ruling over all of us, why on earth do we need, I almost called them something, people in Washington doing that?
There it is.
I have a
60
follow-up
seconds.
question.
Yeah, okay.
How do you get from A to B?
Well, hold on. And before you say that, I'm going to have well, yours is more chronological, and then we'll get to mine because your coworker is going to have questions.
Yep.
But yeah, so the first one would be, well, how does that happen, Eric?
Well, it can happen in another 6 seconds. Easy. No, but seriously, I don't think there's any one way to make that happen. So whether it happened by way of referendum or whether there was some sort of state. Let's say you got what's going down right now in like New Hampshire with free staters. You got like this sort of Texas secession movement, which continues to grow.
I should have worn my new shirt. Texas secession.
Yeah, that continues to happen. I do think if something like that happened, it would be momentous at that point, where people would see a state do it and realize that the world isn't just going to explode once it happens, and then they're like, "Oh, I think I want in on that as well." Why do they get to leave and not be ruled over by this massive governing body or whatever? So, however it happens, I will accept it, but it has happened in the recent history, and people need to stop pointing to the freaking Civil War as some example of secessionism, because it's a terrible example.
Okay, so let's say a state, let's just take Texas, which I have a new shirt that I received for Christmas that says American until Texas secedes.
I like that.
I wish I was wearing that
I like
right now.
that.
So a state, let's just take Texas, says, we're out. Abbott calls a press conference today. Let's just say that the state legislature says they vote and, yep, we're no longer part of the U.S. Sorry. Okay. Federal government obviously isn't going to let the state of Texas just leave the union without a big fight. So I guess my question to you is Texas being successful in this all hinging on other states doing this?
No, I don't think at all.
time?
I don't think at all. I think
You don't think shots would be fired?
No, not like that. No, I don't think. I think before something like that would happen, people need to understand. Definitely in this day and age, it's one thing for, like, let's say the military to go to bomb brown people in Afghanistan or something like that. It's another for them to take it out on it wouldn't be anymore their own citizen. And definitely when you consider in pockets of the South how many of those are.
Have you seen the rhetoric around January 6th? And when I hear the big lie, the big lie to me is the federal government's spin on what happened on January 6th.
And they'll necessarily do that, but to an entire, definitely an independent bloc like Texas, I don't see that as a realistic.
They are trying to make an example of these people who are now in solitary confinement.
A lot of them are. Yeah.
You don't think they're going to just do that on a
not at a level
scale?
not at a level that massive, and even if they try, so what? Like, I'm saying that genuinely. So what? So let's assume
what side
of conversation
does the average infantryman What does he do? If
That's a great question.
If he's in Killeen,
'cause I'm not
Texas
as-
right now,
Yeah.
and he gets called up to put down this insurrection,
No, I think you're gonna probably get more of a like half and half type of thing. I think there are gonna be some. I'm not as.
but no bullets are gonna be shot.
I'm not gonna say that it will be completely like, let's say, non-violent. Definitely for the first one. I'm just saying for something like that to happen in mass, definitely for a geographical area as big as Texas, and especially as armed as what Texas is. I don't even think that's a lot of problem that a lot of military folk
Now-
want to be dealing with.
I'm gonna use a sports analogy here, Jill. Texas and Oklahoma, on the down low, decided to leave the Big 12 for the SEC.
That was a big deal.
That was a very big deal.
People are
they
really mad.
And they just said, surprise, we're leaving. Would it not take something like some sort of agreement between states like that they all at the same time go, surprise, we're leaving, here we go.
Be a convention of states.
And then on top of that, how do you convince the public
Yes.
that don't live in these states where maybe it is popular to float the idea of secession, that they're not treasonous? And then
Don't care.
Then the PR machine kicks into gear.
Don't care. Like, this is my thing. Like, I think those sorts of terms, whether it be treason and what is deemed as patriotic, a lot of these terms are just fluff words to convince people to protect the regime that exists right now. So if they call you that, who the hell cares? At the end of the day, that's what I say. You can call them like we were just talking about it the other segment where what they call us, the enemies of domestic enemies.
domestic enemies, yeah.
Cool, embrace it.
Dude, that'd be another good T-shirt to have.
Yeah, domestic enemy. No, but seriously, like.
Yes.
Like, we've seen decentralization efforts that have happened. I need people to really start to be more mindful of this idea. I think everybody defaults to the Civil War because they look at it like, oh, it's an American example. Those are completely different times. Technology certainly is in advance. We live in a far more peaceful time. And even in, I know it doesn't feel that way because everybody's connected to things, but believe it or not, you live right now in the most peaceful time in human history.
I know. I
human
tell my
history.
kids this all the
this
time.
This is a reality. This is the honest to God's truth. But people point to things like, I don't know, China or something like that, and this is what they want. I'm like, yeah, do they really, or does that even matter? But you've had Brexit, you've had even in some of our lifetime Czechoslovakia. Like these have been decentralization efforts, and believe it or not, your beloved country was founded on exactly.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly that. So hey, and by the way, for you patriots out there who love to tout out 1776 and July 4th and all of that, I would encourage you to actually read the damn documents that these guys actually parade, because did you not know that in the Declaration of Independence,
Preach.
this literally is in there.
Oh.
It is the right of the people to alter or abolish
I know.
the
Thank you.
government. It is in there. It is in there. This is not my, so even by your own beloved founders, and their terminology, what I am saying is even in line with that.